Hello Capricorn, and welcome to your monthly horoscope for May. This is for the Sun or the Ascendant. Now I'm going to give you the key details to look out for, but please stay with me. I will then go on to give you in great detail all the influences that will impact on your sign in particular. Now, there's something really important to tell you, because at the very start of this month, we're surfing the energy of the solar eclipse, which coincided with the last day of April. Now, this is going to provide a backdrop of energy for the next 6 months, but it's in your 5th house. The 5th house is probably the most positive part of the Zodiac as far as you're concerned. And of course, it's not just the Sun that you have in the 5th house, you also have Uranus and the North Node, and they're all giving you a platform to really charge into this new month with a lot of self-confidence and a lot of verve. But Mars, the planet of passion, has linked up with that solar eclipse in a really galvanizing way, and Mars is in your sector of everyday communications, but it can also influence in the 3rd house a desire to be very active. So I think there's a very energizing vibe as you come into this new month, which is really exciting. But also, because the Sun is very close to Uranus as we come into May, being open to making very flexible decisions is going to be something that will really work to your advantage. You can be one of the most systematic and very sustained and hard-working of all the zodiac signs, but don't let your need for order pulverize your passion. So a great opportunity to move forwards in a very extrovert and risk-taking way, even as this month begins. But there are going to be a lot of strands to do with home, emotion and family as the month unfolds, which I will share with you. Now, if you would be so kind to subscribe to my channel, I'd be honoured. Please click or tap on the bell notification symbol. Also, if you would like to ascend above Zodiac Astrology and understand how your birth information of time, date and place impacts on your whole life, you can take advantage of my special offer of a 12-month forecast and a character analysis by seeing the link beneath this video and getting 30% off. A natal horoscope is a roadmap which can guide us all through our lives. It's that important. Now, if you'd like to stick with the zodiac signs, you can also take advantage of my free written daily horoscope fired to your device each morning. Please see the link below for more on that too. So Capricorn, welcome to your May monthly forecast. And as you come into this month, the glory of that solar eclipse, that black moon, is pulsating through the heavens. It's that invigorated because of the role of Uranus and Mars. If we think that Uranus is the planet of truth, but it's also the planet of change, but it's also the planet of authenticity, and in the 5th house, the 5th house where the Sun and the Moon are, as you come into May, that's your part of your situation that's to do with your self-expression. So it's very Leonian, it's warm, it's affectionate, it's larger than life. Now, you have a reputation for running a little on the cool side, and it is true that when it comes to your resources, the lunar eclipse, which occurs at the heart of this month, is cautioning you not to be too free and easy with the money that you have. But equally, because Mars is informing the start of this month, that's very much the planet of action. Action with words or action with your physical output. And in the 3rd house, it's going to give you a lot of enthusiasm, and that's being fed into this self-expressive solar eclipse. Because Uranus is there as well, that brings an electricity, a quickness. So a lot of action at the start of this month can be very positive for you. But also, as you come into this month, there's a glorious link between Jupiter and also Pluto. Pluto's in your sign, of course, still. Jupiter in your sector of everyday communications. Your ideas or mode of expressing them is really going to achieve, I feel, a lot of reactions in a positive way at the very start of this month. So if you've got something that you want to sell, market, share, whether it's a creative strand, whether it's to do with a business, whether it's to do with just socializing with the people you really love to be with, your enthusiasm can be absolutely infectious. Now, Mercury is in shadow as this month begins, and it does come into retrograde on the 10th. So the everyday details of life will need to be marshalled very carefully. Just things like appointments, paperwork, receipts, anything to do with booking things. And we know that Mercury retrograde almost always influences travel plans, distribution and so on. And some of those things we can't control ourselves. But for you, the more organised you are, the more you can actually see all these creative strands really flourish in your situation. But are you hoping to move home this month, Capricorn? Or are you hoping to redecorate? Or are you hoping to refit a kitchen or make some physical changes to the structure of where you live? Or are you hoping to have a new addition to your family? Because there's 3 stunning developments on the 2nd, the 10th and the 24th when Venus, Jupiter and Mars in turn move into the 4th house of your situation, which is all about your sense of security, but it's also about your environment. And these are areas that you can bring about real changes with a lot of drive, particularly in the last week when Jupiter and Mars come into a conjunction. There's a lot to go for. But, of course, Jupiter is very much about expansion. And in the sign of Aries, it's fiery. So if you've had an idea to improve your living situation or get the home you want, your determination to move forwards is really going to be strong. There could be some assistance from a family member, or perhaps you're doing something to help someone in your family. Either way, something linked to property, but also your creativity and imagination are all part of this month's story. Now, from the 13th to the 23rd, Mars is conjunct Neptune. If you're having any kind of conversations across that period of time with siblings or neighbours, please do choose your words carefully, because with Mercury retrograde, somebody could get the wrong end of your stick, or maybe you will inadvertently give an impression that you don't mean. You could also encounter someone, and like every aspect has its upper and perhaps more challenging side, you could encounter someone who's actually not particularly honest. So if you're buying and selling anything from the 13th to the 23rd, particularly online, just be careful that things are described accurately and that what you're going to get is going to be as you hope. So it might be a good idea to use some kind of payment device which provides some backup or insurance. But from the 12th through to about the 17th, the Sun is squaring with your ruler Saturn. And that exuberance that's been so important to you at the start of this month could just be restrained a little bit at that point. Because Saturn, of course, is very much about discipline and structures, but it can also be about limitations. If you are wanting to invest in a property matter, for example, I wouldn't borrow more money than you can afford. If you're doing some kind of extension, I wouldn't be tempted to take any shortcuts to get what you want, because Saturn governs rules and institutions. So you need to stay on the right side of any risk-taking that you go for around about the 16th, when we have the Scorpio lunar eclipse. On the 21st, however, the Sun moves into a very practical area, and all those creative strands that you've been working with can now be converted into something that's more fundamentally recognisable, and that appeals to the earth nature of your sign. You like to see things working and giving a tangible return, and that can become more obvious to you from the 21st. The The 23rd, however, sees Mercury inverse back into your sister Earth sign of Taurus. So as much as you may be trying to convert a creative strand or some flair into something that's more workable, it may have a few niggles that you just need to watch out for at that time. But Mars's move into Aries, the sign it governs, on the 24th, and it joining with Jupiter for the last week of this month, could see a big movement around something to do with your home, family. Could be an emotional matter. It could be more of a physical change. I think that your desire to make your environment feel better is going to be strong. Now, if your home is really as you want it, it could be your outdoor space that appeals to you. Then again, if that is also as you want it, you may use the drive of Mars and Jupiter together to start a home-based business. Jupiter can be very much to do with entrepreneurship, Mars with desire. Or it could be that you're going to want to do something more rugged or daring, but the planning starts in the comfort of your home. Now on the 28th, Venus, after a little bit of a tough tete-a-tete with Pluto, suggesting that somebody close to you might not necessarily completely fall in with your plans as you hope. Venus actually moves into the 5th house, very much its home zone in the sign of Taurus, and for you sets up a 28-day period when your powers of seduction are going to be absolutely at the top of their capabilities. But also, this is a great time to be more playful, to mix and mingle where it's possible, obviously depending on what's going on with various rules and regulations that seem to have eased. They may come back into a little bit more focus, I feel, as this year goes on, particularly from about the second week of August. But if you can, through June, get out and be with other people, I think May and June can actually turn out to be very, very happy months. You may even really enjoy playing host, having people around for parties, barbecues, that kind of thing, if you're in the northern hemisphere. But on the 30th, the new moon is in your 6th house, and this is to do with sacrifice, hard work, discipline, details. It can be to do with nutrition, exercise, all those nitty sort of parts of life that maybe require a lot of application and not particularly sexy, but that new moon can see you bursting into June with a desire to make all the good strands of May work as efficiently as possible. It's been a real pleasure being with you. Stay safe, take care, and goodbye for now.